Kind of the interesting thing about my part is if we don't let the project go through, you can forget everything I'm going to say. But until that point in time, it's actually pretty important. Emergency response takes place not only at the Phillips site, but also along the rail route being traveled. John gave an excellent explanation of what could happen. So we're not really concerned just about what's going on down here. People have to understand this is important on how they're planning on getting the oil here. You heard about the 1.5 mile long trains. Well, we all did the math, so we all came up with the same thing. But I want to go back to that single train. We talked about 500 million gallons per year forever, year in, year in, year in and year out. It's going to happen. That once the barn doors open and this horse gets out, we have nothing that we can do about it anymore. It is absolutely got to be stopped here and now, or else we can all just go on our merry way, along with the big refinery down there. One train, one of these trains that are coming in, carries 2.2 million gallons of oil itself. So go back to John's scenario. The California PUC did identify local safety hazard sites. And as John said, we have one in our backyard, the Cuesta Grade. He mentioned it, and I was watching the audience, and I didn't get a lot of reaction when he started talking about runaway trains. Can you imagine a 80-car, 3-engine, 3 buffer cars, I guess they got on it too, coming down Cuesta Grade with no control? It's going to go sailing through the 1890 bridge. It's going to, at some point, hit a curve, and we are going to have a major catastrophe on our hands. May not be an explosion, but it could be just a major oil spill. I'll talk about that in a minute. But it's something that this is what's really critical on this, our ability to respond to this. I want you to remember something I'm going to talk about. The 4 U's, the letter U, kind of got stuck in the alphabet between T and V. Just remember the letter U. I'll come back to that in a minute. But Fire Protection Services, we do have, at last count, last we know, 5 hazardous response teams between Paso Robles and Santa Barbara. Only one of them, the Santa Barbara team, is level 1 certified. Now, I'm not an expert. I'm not sure what level 1 certification versus other certification or non-certification means, but that tells me that just in plain people speak, we're 2 hours away from that team being mobilized and getting here should something happen. And if they're the only qualified team to get here, that's 2 hours when all kinds of stuff could be happening. Now, it's not like the state of California is not doing something about this. The Senate in Sacramento has got Senate Bill 861, which addresses oil spill prevention and response. That was a good move on their part. Equally as challenging is almost immediately after that hit the Senate floor, early October, the Union Pacific, Burlington Northern, and American Association of Railroads, the AAR, have sued the state of California over this bill, saying that federal law prohibits states from taking any action, any mitigation on safety laws on crude oil. They're saying what the feds have got is good enough for us. I'm not sure about that. So it comes under this thing of preemption. I didn't really get down to preemption to figure out what preemption really meant. You heard it a couple times today. Preemption basically is the concept that the federal law takes precedent over anything the states and counties can do. So the railroads who operate under federal law, and the reason for this is one very big reason, because they figure the states and counties with individual local laws could actually impede interstate commerce. And that is one thing the feds are not going to let happen. So when it comes to federal regulation, anything crossing a state line, their regulation, their laws will impede and prohibit state laws from taking any action at all. So much for that. Evacuation. And again, John did a great job. I didn't have to give this. He gave most of my stuff. But evacuation. Back not that long ago in Castleton, North Dakota, they had 18 rail cars with Bakken oil, which they say we're not going to get here, but they exploded. They evacuated the entire town within this 5-mile radius, 2,300 residents. Feel sorry for them, but it's only 2,300. They put them in shelters, and they were gone out of their homes forever. coming down the Cuesta grade, getting into the city of San Luis Obispo, with Cal Poly and the city itself, we have 63,000 people at last count. You take that 5-mile circle, put it over San Luis Obispo. Where are we going to put 63,000 people? For how long are they going to be homeless? And is it fair to even consider that that might happen to them? It's something that is just really, again, has to be looked at and stopped right now. The 4 U's, talked about the 4 U's. This is probably the most scary part of this whole thing. The Office of Emergency Services has already determined that the emergency response service in Santa Barbara County and San Luis Obispo County is underfunded, undertrained, under-equipped, and underprepared. 4 U's. Underfunded, undertrained, under-equipped, and unprepared. We can't let this happen. Finally, and I'm finished here, but I thought of something, and it's kind of my own conclusion on this. Everybody, I'm sure everybody, anybody who's a sports fan, remembers the film Field of Dreams. Great film. James Earl Jones had a great line in it. Build it and they will come. Our version of this movie may not be Field of Dreams, but could be Field of Nightmares. If we let them build it, they most certainly will come. Thank you.